Here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Jasper Gonzo here. Another What's Next. Happy Tuesday. Excuse me. Celebrities. Now, when you hear the word celebrities, you're hearing Hollywood, you're hearing stars, you're hearing movies, you're hearing television, you're hearing big names. These people who get paid millions of dollars to make movies to entertain you, music to entertain you, television, and so forth. But there's Hollywood and there's Hollywoke. Hollywoke is what is there now. You got celebrities who decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to talk about politics. I'm going to talk about issues that I really have no understanding of what I speak of. Hence, Mark Ruffalo. Now, this is the first time I'm speaking about Mark Ruffalo outside of Marvel, because when he's in Marvel, he's fine. Take him out of Marvel, and all of a sudden he becomes Mr. Activist, and like I know what I'm speaking of. But Mark Ruffalo really doesn't know what he speaks of. Now, we're going to go to the latest Mark Ruffalo buffoonery, but we're going to take a look at what he's done just a few weeks ago. Let's take a look. This comes out of Breitbart. Now, this is current. Mark Ruffalo hours after tornadoes kill dozens. This is what climate catastrophe looks like. No, this is what idiocy looks like. But just before we talk about these words of wisdom from Mark Ruffalo, let's take a look back. Avengers star Mark Ruffalo faces backlash for tribute giving cutesy pet name to child rapist Joseph Rosenbaum. Now, for those unfamiliar with Joseph Rosenbaum, this is the same Joseph Rosenbaum who was shot by Kyle Rittenhouse for being attacked on that fateful day, August 25th in 2020 in Kenosha, where, of course, we all know that Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted of all charges because of self-defense. Marvel's Avenger star Mark Ruffalo is facing widespread ridicule for paying glowing tribute to Kyle Rittenhouse attackers, including serial pedophile and sex offender Joseph Rosenbaum, who the Hollywood star affectionately referred to as JoJo. Yeah. In a bizarre tweet, Mark Ruffalo honored the two men who Rittenhouse shot and killed in a self-defense after they physically attacked him during last year's Black Lives Matter riots in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Ruffalo, who's born in Kenosha, wow, did not know that, referred to Joseph Rosenbaum by his nickname JoJo as he eulogized the attackers as victims of racism. We come together to mourn the lives lost to the same racism system that devalues black lives and devalues the lives of Anthony and JoJo. Words of wisdom, Mark Ruffalo. Now, we go to current. Mark Ruffalo hours after tornadoes kill dozens. This is, of course, what climate catastrophe looks like. Left-winger Marvel movie star Mark Ruffalo joined left-wing craze of blaming horrific and deadly tornado disaster in Kentucky and several states on faux climate change. Sharing an article from The Guardian announcing the tragic death of at least 70 people during the disaster, Ruffalo tweeted over the weekend, "This is what climate catastrophe looks like. It's only going to get worse from here. Now it's time to fight for our suffering and despairing youth." President Joe Dementia tactically suggested that climate change could have contributed to the tornadoes that tore through the parts of our country, being that tornadoes happen every year and that there is no significant jump in tornadoes from previous years. It's called facts. Quote, "All I know is the intensity of the weather across the board has some impacts as a consequence of the warming of the planet and climate change," Dementia said. "The specific impact on these specific storms, I can't say at this point because I have no clue of what I'm doing." Quote, "I'm going to be asking the EPA and others to take a look at it," Biden added. "The fact that we all know that everything is more intense when climate is warming. Everything is obvious. It has some impact here. I can't give you a quantitative reading on that." Other left-wing pundits and media figures were just as brazen as Mark Ruffalo when suggesting that climate change contributed to the tornadoes despite the science not being settled. Quote, "The dark irony of this makes me sick." Adam McKay. Tornadoes in December are usual, but not unheard of. Here's what we know about Friday's devastating tornado outbreak and the role of climate change in such weathering events. Now this. Climate scientists and meteorologists have confirmed, yes, the science is settled, that the tornado outbreak was made possible by the forces of climate change. Some clown named Ryan. Another example of climate change being an intersectional issue, if you are subjected to unsocial, unjust social and economic system, yes, those systematic racisms, you are more vulnerable to actual destruction for extreme weather events. You can't afford to flee nor hide, because as we all know, that when climate strikes, it strikes blacks and Hispanics and Asians and leaves the white people alone. Let that sink in for a second. All right. Media covering Kentucky need to ask tough questions about infrastructure, workplace regulation, labor, organizing issues, climate change. Enough with the petty stories and stop posting about Christmas trees being salvaged. Clown and Karen sue Kerr. The science of whether or not climate change actually contributes to tornadoes remains entirely in dispute. As Joe Pollack of Breitbart noted, the evidence is inconclusive as climate change intensifies storms. Quote, as a former Obama administrator official, Steve Koonin wrote in his recent book, Unsettled, what climate science tells us, what it doesn't, and why it matters, hurricanes and tornadoes show no change attributable to human influences. And that the best we can say is, if anything, U.S. tornadoes have become more benign as the globe has warmed over the past 25 years. And we have no credible method of projecting future changes. Even an Associated Press explainer struggles to accept the idea that climate change is linked to Kentucky tornadoes, which is absolutely bullshit. Attributing a specific storm like Friday's to the effects of climate change remains very challenging. It concluded, however, the AP also strained to cite scientists who said that warmer climate could produce more thunderstorms in the wintertime. Mark Ruffalo has been an outspoken proponent of climate change over several years, even going so far as to criticize former Barack Obama and, Brony for his inaction on the issue. Last year, the actor even declared that former President Trump, should be public enemy number one based on his response to so-called climate change, because it's faux climate change. Quote, I think the world should consider my president as public enemy number one, the actor told Sky News. What we do probably in the next 10 years will probably be crucial to the future of the planet. This will only be more and more evidence to us we're not going backwards from here. My thoughts. The fact of the matter is that Mark Ruffalo is an idiot. One, I didn't know that he got his meteorology degree, his geography degree, his climatology degree. Oh, wait, he didn't. He's a Hollywoke actor, and that's what he is. Again, like I said in the beginning, you got Hollywoke actors who think they know something, but they don't know shit. Ask LeBron James. When you have idiots like one Sandy Cortez, the little bartender who runs around and says, well, we're going to be dead in 12 years if we don't change the climate. If we don't change the climate. And then you have other idiots who claim that because you're black, because you're brown, because you're Asian, climate comes after you and leaves the white people alone. Wow. To quote Ron White, the great philosopher, you can't fix stupid. And with that being said, I'm Jasper Gonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a comment below, like it, share it, subscribe to it. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.